All right, welcome in everyone. American and Leeds, the American and Leeds YouTube channel. I'll download this as well, so it'd be on Spotify. Trying to do content twice a week, once kind of a match reaction, and then a long form pod in the midweek. But hope you're all doing well. Small channel, so smash the like. It'd be awesome if we got to 100 likes. That would be good. Just throwing a number out there. Why not 100? My 3-year-old thinks the number 100 is a lot. So so we'll do that. Look, Leeds United 3, Coventry City 0. Leeds now sit at 5th in the EFL Championship on 14 points, 2 behind West Brom, who are the leaders. So we gained some ground on them. We'll just go over the basic match stats and then get stuck in. But shots on goal, 13 by Leeds United, 7 by Coventry. Shots on target, 8 by Leeds United, 2 by Coventry. And I think they were fairly tame, save for the last one. Possession, 48% possession to the Whites, 52 by Coventry. Passes, 444 passes for Leeds United, 470, 469 by Coventry City. Pass accuracy, 82%, 83% Coventry City. Corners, we had 7. Leeds United had 7 and 3 by Coventry City. I thought it was pretty dominant performance by Leeds United and Daniel Farke's side. I really never thought Coventry was that much of a threat. And just an overall great performance. Obviously, Ampadu goes down. Al Tanaka comes in, and you just never thought it was missing a beat. Let's go to Locky first. Locky, what did you think of Daniel Farke and his preparations for the team as I take a sip in this 49ers glass?
Yeah, he got it spot on, did the manager. I think today, yeah, it's today still, 10:30. Not quite past midnight yet, but yeah, it seems like hours ago. He got it spot on, didn't he? I don't think you can really fault that. I think the way we set up was good. We're always, I mentioned this last year, when we went on that really good run, a lot of the time in those games, we kind of had that 45 to 50% possession. It was rare we actually dominated some of them games. I can't remember, well, the Leicester one, for example, but there's a lot of games where we just kind of let them at times have the ball because we're right with that, because we're relying on our defensive shape, which I think is underrated. I think it's ridiculously good, our defensive shape. It's really good. And we did the damage today, which, we've not been able to in the last few weeks. We did the damage, which just allowed us to just play the game we wanted. And we said, we're just going to sit a little deeper and destroy on the counter. They couldn't create anything really to break us down. And then when we did get it, we looked deadly. And I think, two of our goals came from that situation, transition. So I think we got it spot on, to be fair, guys. We dominated the early kind of 30 minutes of the game. We're a little more clinical. There's still some decision-making stuff from the players that frustrates me at times, but we looked like a very good team. And what I do want to say as well on Coventry, they're a good team. I know they've not started well, clearly, but they're a good team. Matt Robbins is a good manager, very good manager. He's done very well with Coventry in the last few years, very well indeed. He's been there for years now, so he's a very good coach. And last year they bullied us, and I was genuinely worried going into this that they were going to do that again, but we just suffocated them. In possession, we moved it quickly. Physical battles were fine, and then out possession, they didn't have a minute to breathe. When it got into a dangerous area, we're on it. Mm-hmm. So I was very happy, mate.
Yeah, we frustrated them. I want to dig a little bit in. You mentioned if you had to say one thing, you were picky about some of the decisions that the players make. You just talking about like final passes in the final third being more cutthroat there, or what frustrates you sometimes?
It was in the second half. The first half, I had no complaints. Thought were really good. Second half, when they had a bit more of the ball and we won it back, the next pass was often loose, or we'd give it away. That one annoyed me because it allowed them to get a little bit more of it. Didn't do what with it because our shape's really good, but in those little moments, in that 20-minute period where that kind of next pass was just a little off, it never quite met a man, or the first touch was bad or something like that. Just them little things we need to clean up. But dominated, didn't we? apart from that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think? What do you think about Farke, his tactics, and the overall performance today?
Oh, I agree with Locky. I mean, the thing is we've seen dominant performances already. To me, the difference was this was more convincing. So I think that's the word for me. This was kind of the first convincing win that we've had. And I agree with Locky in terms of, maybe sitting back and letting them have more of the ball. I think the stats bear that out. And, I was thinking about that in terms of if we want to play faster, the faster you play, the less control you have. So in terms of speeding up our play, I think, you're going to lose more balls, but for me, what countered that was our press and just like you all said, like just suffocating them. So it was okay if we're willing to take a little bit more, or at least dial it up a little bit more and speed up and be a little bit more risky with some of the passing and the movements. I think that, that was okay. And plus we were at home. So I think that may have been a factor too, versus if we're playing away, we might be a little bit more conservative. So just going for it a little bit more, I think, Alex, I was on your show before and we talked about Farke, and I wasn't overly critical, and I'm still a fan of his. I really am. I feel like I'll keep saying I think he was the signing of the season last year.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was just sometimes predictable as a viewer, as a fan to watch. And I think I was mistaken. I think, thinking about it more, I don't think he's predictable. I think he's methodical, and there's a difference with being predictable. What the outcome is going to be. And I don't think he's predictable in that sense. I just think he's very, very detail oriented. I think he sticks to a system. He's not going to budge from that much. And I think it just, with that, we're seeing, how his substitutions come in, how he's going to set up. He's going to put more emphasis on the defense, and that's going to be the bedrock of the team. And now we're seeing the players coming in and starting to gel a little bit more. And I feel like they've taken a next step. And, with someone being methodical, you're going to get consistency as well. And I think that just makes me feel really good. It's not going to be all over the place where you may have a really good match and look lights out, and then the next match you come in and you just lay a big egg. It's going to be, we're going to be close in a lot of matches when you're more defensive minded. But I think, he's just very methodical, and I think embracing that with the 49ers coming in, I think data has a lot to do with that too.
Yeah,
they're gonna use data for a lot of things and how they set up and how they're gonna play against certain teams, and they're gonna be really focused on that, which may be different than other managers, right? Who it's more gut, it's more instinct, it's more what they're used to, I guess, more traditional. So those are the things I've been thinking about. Just I'm really happy with where we're heading. I think as the players come into it more, I think you're going to see not perfect performances, but I think we'll see maybe faster speed of play, and maybe what Locky's referring to there is maybe we'll clean some of those passes up once we win the ball back. But the press for me was the thing today that really stood out.
Yeah. I really like that front four. It's young, it's dynamic, it's going to learn. It's not perfect, but I just really like, even if Dan James was healthy and Monor Solomon was healthy right now, there's something about that young front four that I really like. I know there's shouts of Perot coming in, but, Locky, we'll go back to you. What do you think of the front four with, was it Ramazani, Aaronson? Nanto is like the most seasoned player there.
Yeah,
and he's young, right?
That's
and then Joseph. What do you think, Locky?
Yeah, it's very exciting, isn't it? You can just imagine them all in 5 years, and it's the type of players that you can see when we go up the leagues and up the league, and into the Prem, and then advancing from the Prem, going up, up the table. Hopefully, you can see them developing with us, which is important because they could be here for 5-6 years and they'll just get better and better. I genuinely don't see any of them players getting worse. I think with Aaronson, obviously we've seen him in the Prem. We saw the good and the bad in the Prem. People like say was bad in the Prem for the first maybe 5 or 6 weeks. Thought he was very good. He's kind of dropped off, but I think this will help him. I think this league will help him. We've seen it. It's a great league to help a player out. It gets you confidence. It gets you used to the physical side of the game, and people like to talk about his physical side. And I keep saying, as a skinny guy, you know, they might be stronger than you, but if you're quicker than them, it don't matter. And he showed that today. He did get bounced off the ball once or twice, but he got up and got on with it. It didn't bother him. He didn't moan at the ref, you know. And I like that. He's just getting on with it. He's just playing his game. And then you've got Ramazani, who's just brilliant. I don't know what he's going to do next. And I love that. Do you know what I mean? 1 minute he's just stood on the ball, and then he just runs past 3 players. And then you've got Nonto, who, to be fair, I've been a little critical of. I think for his standard, I watched Borja Signs today for Norwich, and he got a hat trick, and he's their main man really in the front four. I want our front four to do that. You know, they weren't playing great, and he just popped up, scored 3, won the game. I'm looking at Nonto saying I need him to be a bit more of that player. And today, that's what I expect from him. That's how good he can be. And yeah, he was brilliant. And then you've got Matteo, who's... Do you know what's funny about Matteo Joseph? When he first arrived at Leeds 2.5 years ago, I think it was now, he was just a poacher. That's what he was. He was last man, run after last man, get in the box, finish. He's almost gone full circle to the point where he does everything else, but he's kind of just missing that calmness in front of goal now. He's kind of... Yeah, you've done all that, Joseph. Now go back to the finish. You know what I mean? You need to practice that a bit more now. He's kind of... But he's brilliant. I love him. I think he's just a really good learner, and he loves to play. And you can see that from his performances. And Chris is right. The press from all of them. I think when you play for Leeds, no matter what style you have, you need that little bit of edge. And we've lacked that a bit. Today we had that, and that was in the press. And those 4 guys were, Ramazani especially, just won the ball back endlessly up there. And the crowd loved it, and it got the crowd going. And that's what we've been missing for me. And I'm really excited about them. I think they're raw. They're all very raw. They'll make mistakes. They'll have games where they're not great. But just thinking of them names, and I think Ramazan is the oldest at 23. Like, that's a very good front four for this level that you can develop as well. So very exciting, mate. Very exciting.
Yeah. I got a couple things to piggyback on. One is the fact that I really like Perot off the bench. I think he can, steal games for us. That's what Pablo was doing in his the second half in the promotion season. Pablo would come off the bench and get that goal to really seal the victory. Or when we needed a goal or an assist, Pablo was there. So I think that is right. And he came in for Ramazani, and then you saw Aaronson move to the wing. And obviously, Joel Perot play more centrally and obviously get that goal, which was just such a simple goal, simple run. But he's running at defenses that are tired. So I just think his marksmanship will lend well, I think, at minute 70 when he comes in. Second thing is, Chris, you said on the thread that we have is that you really like Ramazani. You think he offers a different kind of dimension to the offense. I can't remember the exact thing that you said, but yeah, I think you were kind of singing his praises a little bit. What did you think of Ramazani?
Oh, my highlight of the game was Coventry went out wide with the ball. And I think at that point, Ramazani and Nonto had switched sides, but you saw Ramazani track the player from near the center towards the edge, and he just tracked them all the way back and took the ball right from him.
Yeah, I remember.
That was pretty much the highlight of my game, or of the game for me. Like, I just love the fact that his work rate, he's tracking back. I think Nonto did a really good job of doing that as well. And to me, that was kind of a key, because last year we saw how when they're able to cross the ball and get it on the head of the strikers, Wright and was it Mills?
Sims.
They can be pretty Sims. Sorry, yeah, Sims and Wright. They can be pretty effective and deadly in that. And I think we shut that down. And I think part of that was just the help we got out wide from our wingers tracking back. And they didn't. It was already mentioned there was no threat. But I think the other point to Ramazani that I really like is, in a contrast to Somerville in some respects, is just his unselfish play. You're seeing more of him seeing a pass and he could also shoot. And I think, you saw that with the Bogle goal. Like I was screaming for him to shoot the ball, and he just, he just slid it very softly and very coolly right between. And I like that about him too, because that adds that other dimension. I think throws defenses off track a little bit, because they don't know is he going to shoot here or is he going to play the ball through. So yeah, I was really impressed. I'm becoming a huge fan.
Yeah, they were all really good, weren't they? I will say though, if I'm being fair, the first kind of 15 minutes, he was going 1v1 and stopping and passing it back. That did annoy me a little bit. Yeah. But I think that's just a confidence thing. Elland Road, you first start playing it safe. But after that, once he felt himself a bit more, I think he was unplayable. Yeah. I thought he was really good.
And he's not Somerville. Like, I'm not comparing him. No. I think he doesn't have that cut in with that strike to the far post yet. We haven't really seen that yet. But yeah, no, I maybe he's just growing into it, as you say, Locky.
I think so.
We'll see more of the attack-minded play.
Locky, what was your favorite goal?
Oh,
of the three.
Goal. I don't think which ones we had now. The first one actually, because just the way we brought really quickly, and the fact that the last two passes were both one touch. Obviously, Aaronson in that space, driving, excellent. Way to pass was good. Firpo first time. You can see they've done that at training, right? Because Firpo knew exactly where the ball was going, and then Nonto knew exactly where the ball was going and what he was going to do with it. And the finish was excellent as well. Just up past the keeper, top corner. That one probably for that. But I liked all of them. With the Tanaka pass, the other one was really good. Yeah, I don't know. They're all good goals.
That was
the first
great.
One, definitely. The first one, just because I love a first timer. First time cross, first time finish. Can't go wrong with that, can you?
Yeah.
It's instinctive. You know what I mean? I loved it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, great first time finish by Nonto. That's probably mine as well. Not Tanaka's pass, to your point, right in the path of Nonto. Almost, I mean, harkens back right to Bielsa when there was goals like that coming right into people's path and crosses and just right on.
You could see Gruev. He laid it off to Tanaka, and he had already looked up. Yeah, he had already saw the run, and he delivered it, which is nice to see.
Michael says, any update on the Ampadu injury? I think we'll find out about that.
That's a worry
in the press. It's a little bit of a worry. Locky says, I think so. We'll see. What do you think about this Daniel Farke press conference where he basically tells you the team knows? The one thing that's just disappointing to me is Vober. We kept the guy. He was supposed to be going on loan. We finally get him, and now he's considering, or his team or whatever is going to consider a possible sounds like almost season ending, or will miss the majority of the season with a possible surgery if he's not back by the last international break. Just I don't know, disappointing, but we move, right? If you're not available, you don't want to play, you're not here. But the press conferences have been always kind of a downer in terms of availability. You're thinking, okay, wow, Strauch's not available, like half the team's out, and then it winds up being, I think it was unchanged, right, Locky?
Yeah. An entire video on the lineup. Now it can be different, and in true Daniel Farke fashion, it was exactly the same. So fair enough.
Exactly, right?
But that's good news though, because that means Strauch was fit. So
and we absolutely need Strauch, and I think that partnership to last. Trying to think if there's there was a question here that we kind of answered to, was Perot. Should we continue with Joseph or give Perot an opportunity to score 3 goals? I think the gaffer's probably going to go. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's kind of my mindset too. I like Perot coming off the bench, probably around minute 70. What do you guys what do you guys think of Al Tanaka and his performance? Chris, what were your thoughts on him?
At first, I was a little surprised he was deeper than Gruev.
Right, same.
I thought, and I think just in my mind, I had him as more the looking at the two of them, I would put him maybe in what I knew about him as more of the attacker in that double pivot. But I think, yeah, so I was surprised by that, but he looked a little, he did the role what Kamara did last year. I think he popped up in different spaces and did really well to keep the ball moving and connecting. But when he got his moment, to take that pass over the top to Nanta, it was, yeah, that's what you get with him. So I thought it was a good performance. I think he'll grow into the system as he gets more time, but I think he was good. Yeah, I mean, overall, like you said, Alex, I think you said at the beginning, like I don't feel like we missed a beat.
It didn't feel like
pretty seamless, really.
It didn't feel like, we missed a beat. I mean, I had to double check to make sure that Ampadu was out of the game at points. Locky, thoughts on Al Tanaka?
Yeah, he's oh, is my camera gone off? Am I still here?
Yeah, we can hear you. I don't know where
it
I don't
says.
know. We
it
can't
says
see
my
you.
camera's been unplugged, which is a big lie. I'll unplug it. I've got a ghost, people.
I got a ghost.
Right. I don't know what's going on with that. It should be back on. 1 second. But anyway, yeah, I'll just keep speaking. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I mean, Chris knows I like Tanaka, I've liked him for about 18 months now. He's just a really good player. He can drop between the centre backs. He can advance even more. But I think it's about the role. I think when Ampadu going off, I think Farke thought if I move Gruev back and then bring Ampadu in the bring Tanaka in the 8, that's 2 positions you kind of move in. I think you just want to keep that continuity with Gruev, who by the way he's been unreal for me this season, and he was really good again. Yeah, Tanaka's excellent. He's just different, is what we've not got. And yeah, more will come. And honestly, to anyone that's just not seen much of him, just enjoy him because he's going to be brilliant. And the fact of the matter is, it's not a good way to bring him in though. We lost our captain because of it, and that it bugs me a bit because Ampadu, I know he's not been the best Ampadu this season, but I thought last game and this game, I thought he was really good and he looked like himself. And look, luckily we have Tanaka to come in who can just control the game, dictate the tempo, really confident on the ball. And he's talking to everyone as well, which is great for a new guy. But we'll miss our captain. I think it's gone under the radar a bit. I know we don't know yet that he could be back next week. We don't actually know, do we? But yeah, it is a big miss, that. And I'm kind of gutted with losing Ampadu, to be fair. But when you lose someone, that brings opportunities, and this is the time now for Gruev and Tanaka to establish their partnership, and mainly Tanaka to establish himself in the team, because what better decision to have if Ampadu is back in a few weeks or whenever that is? What does Farke do then? It's a great problem to have, so this is Tanaka's chance to stake a claim, and all competition is good. Yeah, honestly, Pete, I can't stress it. Pete, everyone will love Tanaka by the end of the season, I guarantee it. I think the best bit for me, obviously, his passing is unreal. It's the bit near the end of the game where he shoulders one of their players and wins the ball back. And that guy went off injured, I think. Oh, perfect. You know what I mean? He's got that physical side to him as well. Where to pass is on point. Yeah. What a player. We have a really good midfield, don't we, to be fair? You think of the 3 in there, really, and you've got Crew and Rothwell to come in, who are not bad players either. But the Gruev, Ampadu, Tanaka 3 midfield is an absolute joke at this level, to be fair. And you just saw his quality. I saw someone say, I think it was in Joe's stream, is Kamara 2.0. I was like, to me, that wasn't a bad thing. I thought Kamara was a really good player. But he's just got that bravery in the final third to make that pass as Tanaka. And we saw that. That's the main difference. He's very neat and tidy on the ball. He'll move. He's decent defensively. But that final third, if there's a risky pass there and he thinks he can make it, he'll do it. And he will chip in goals this year, I think, as well. So, yeah. I love Tanaka. I could talk about him all year. I really could.
Yeah, he makes it look easy. And the fact that I didn't notice him, or we did, he wasn't really noticed, was, I think, a tribute to his play. And except for when he passed the ball around from the back, that was remarkable. I wanted to share this. This is care of Johnny Cooper, Statman for Opta and Leeds United fan. Leeds have faced the lowest XG 3.8, the lowest XG in open play 1.8, and the fewest shots 47, fewest touches in their own box 67, fewest big chances 2, and have the joint most clean sheets 5 of any championship team this season. Leeds United Football Club. Yeah, 5 clean sheets in 6. You've got to give flowers to this man. It wasn't very long ago that we were talking about Daniel Farke as a being on the hot seat, and I knew that game last week wasn't great, and I knew the opponent was terrible, right? And in many cases, you could say Coventry was worse. They were yelling at each other, but I think it spoke to how much like the players were frustrated by Leeds United today, in a game that I think that they wanted to have their tails up for. But to me, it was a platform last week to go on and build, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening here with Leeds United. And we'll take a look at the run-in here if we can get it up. But I just think, go ahead.
I just want to say why you're saying that, Alex. Like, I can't remember who said it. It might have been someone that we don't want to mention, but good defenses win your titles. That's football, If you can literally 2 big chances against us, that's ridiculous. Like that's you get that in a game usually. You know what I mean? That's what is that this is that this season? Is that in that's?
Yeah, I believe that's this season.
That's crazy. And you think about the only goal we've conceded recently. It was
this season. Correct.
So I'm very happy. I get people might find it boring at times, like for the second half parts of it where we did defend. But when you're that good at it, of course you're going to try and use it. I think of Simeone, someone like that, Diego Simeone, who his entire career is based on the fact that his teams are absolutely solid for every minute, and they'll win 1-0. You know what I mean? They'll win 1-0. They'll win just 2-0, easy wins. They'll dominate. They'll suffocate every team they play against, and then they've got clinical players, and they'll score. I love it. Jose Mourinho used to do it. He won Premier League from it, I remember Leicester, when they won the Premier League, they were defensively solid first. They didn't have all the ball. It's a pattern that works. And if you can have that defensive side of it mixed with a clinical front four, you'll win a league, you'll win a title. And them numbers there are an absolute joke. That is ridiculous. 2 big chances this season against us. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and if I'm an attacker on our team, there's so much trust. You're going to have so much trust in your defense that you're going to be more willing to take chances, hopefully, and I that's what I want to see is they got your back, and let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing forward. And it's incredible. And I think that's, the team I follow in America here in the NFL is well known for their defenses, right, Alex? And
that's right. Yeah,
it is true. They always say that defense wins championships, and it's true. If you have a defense that the opponent fears, that carries a lot of weight. And I would just like to see us maybe be a little meaner, not as nice as in terms of how we play, to put a little bit more fear in our opponent, but it's just gotta be a good feeling to know that you have that in place and the trust there.
Yeah, there was a saying my basketball coach in grade school used to say to me is, offense wins games, defense wins championships. He was basically making the argument that we needed to focus less on our offense and more on our defense. And I know that doesn't make sense. And it's kind of an oxymoron. It's like you need to win games to win championships. But I mean, everybody will tell you, like, especially in these types of sports, like hockey and specifically football, proper football, you build from the goalie out. I mean, everybody's always said you build a team from the goalie out. And that's what I think is happening. I mean, Meslier, it was like somebody was saying, like, he could have had a picnic back there set up by himself, get the silverware out. I mean, he was basically get up and maybe touch the ball, pass it to Rodon or into Ampadu or whatever, and he was pretty much done. He was almost treated like another option at center back. But yeah, really strong performance. I just didn't think they really had a sniff today. I mean, maybe one little sniff at the end, and that was it.
Yeah.
Let's look at the.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna impose this to Locky, but like, how good were our fullbacks today? You know, and you know, Locky, I know you know a lot more about just the setup and the tactics, but it just felt like they were pushed up a lot higher today and got way more involved. And I don't know if there was a slight change in tactics there, or you know, it was our opponent, but they were outstanding. We haven't talked about them at all, but both Bogle and Firpo were amazing.
Yeah, I think it worked because especially until they made subs. I don't think Coventry played for wingers, direct wingers, so that kind of helped. And the fact that we had all the ball meant their fullbacks were not getting up, so it kind of ours just went, well, we can go up, you know, and that's good to see. I think it was I listened to a pod, I can't remember what it was, earlier this week, said when Liverpool recruited their fullbacks, they didn't even look at the defensive metrics because they didn't care. All they wanted to know about who were the best attacking fullbacks that will win us the league, you know, that will get us the championships we need. Didn't care about the defensive side of it. I guess we're kind of like that. Firpo has improved there. Bogle was good today defensively, but our fullbacks are there because they're there to win us the game. They're there to create these key chances. Look, we got an assist and a goal from our fullbacks today. And you can see that happening every game because they're just getting good positions, like Chris said. They did advance a bit more. And look, I don't mind that because that's confidence in you, that's confidence in your team, the coach, the system, that we can be a bit more progressive in fullback areas. And yeah, I just wanted a quick thought on that as well. I think it was Carlo Ancelotti said last year in a press conference, to paraphrase, this is not exactly what he said, but they asked him about his football and the style he plays and how much tactics he goes into. And he says, I don't. He says, look, I'll set a team shape up. I'll decide the shape. I'll set the defensive shape up. And then he said, I can't tell them attackers how to play football. They're better at it than me. You know, I'm not going to tell them how to beat a man or where to run. That's on them. I'm not more talented than they are. But what I can do is set a team defensively. And then the guys in the final third can express themselves and do their thing. And I feel like that's the kind of situation we're in right now. Because we just look so solid. But off the ball, in the final third, there's a lot of freedom. And we saw today when it clicks, we are clinical. Teams just don't know what to do. They don't know how to play against us. And we've got to keep this up because, like I said, it was very impressive.
Yeah, I think it was very impressive. I think it's a platform to build. I think we've got to continue to click now. I think we have enough depth. But I think I also think it can be thin. We can't afford too many more injuries. I'll just say that. Yeah. That's my only really worry coming out of this game. Quick turnaround for Norwich City against Leeds United Tuesday, October 1st, or the October 1st. I don't know how to say that. 1st of October. That was the thing. Norwich, and then another quick turnaround for Sunderland, the 4th of October. This is welcome to the championship. And we will be away at both of those matches. We will be in a hostile environment, as they say. And Leeds United back home after, I guess, there'll be another international break, which will be interesting. Be interesting to see, at least from a USMNT perspective, if Brendan Aaronson gets selected, I think. But we'll see.
I was going to ask, what do you guys think of Brendan as a fellow American? How you guys?
It's I'll dig in first. I think, he's very good in tight spaces. I thought he was very, cheeky with the ball. I thought he was getting the ball in to good areas. There was one touch that just frustrated me when he tried to kind of rip one from just outside the box. He kind of put one in his touch and completely missed it. I'm going, oh, Brendan, I am Look, managers keep putting him on some set pieces, so he must have a decent ball on him. But sometimes I don't know if it's the best. But I think he's what Leeds United need now. Does that make any sense? I certainly don't think he's Pablo Hernandez. I don't think he's Jorginho Ruter, but I think his work rate and his effort on the ball is what we need in the system to be that kind of defensive side without the ball, where he's just got a motor on him that's not going to quit. And that's always been one of his best attributes. He's kind of I think he's kind of the Patrick Bamford of number 10s or midfield, kind of attacking midfield, in which he will put too much pressure on himself at times and then start to overthink it rather than just put it in the back of the net. Like you're seeing like good movement, like you're seeing everything but the goals right now. So once that starts to click, I think he's going to wind up with I'm hoping that he winds up with about double-digit goals, about 10 to 12. That's what I'm hopeful for. And then maybe another kind of similar number in assists, and then just a complete defensive player. So I don't know, Chris, what do you think?
I'm a big fan of Brendan. Yeah, I've been following him. I remember when he broke through in Philadelphia, his first pro contract, and knowing him as a footballer, he's always had to punch above his weight. He's always played with guys much older than him, much bigger than him. He's always had to prove himself. And I think when he first comes into that challenge, he takes the challenge, and I think he does really well. It's when he's not doing well, his confidence drops. And so I think he's definitely a confidence type player. I think this year, I think now that he's maybe overcome his apprehension about how he'll be received at Elland Road and at Leeds, I think he's free from some of that. And I think you're seeing a really confident player. I like his game. I think the talk of, well, we still need a 10, we didn't get a true 10. I think he's doing really well as our 10. I think the sooner we embrace that, the better. It's not necessarily a slight on him, but at the same time, like, what's wrong with what he's doing right now? I'm not seeing what he's doing that's much different than, obviously there's 10s that are stars and at a different level, but in the championship, I think he's doing really, really well. And to Alex's point, I think it's what we need right now. So I think it's time to maybe stop with we still need a 10. With our lineup, I like how each, Brendan, Nanto, Ramazani, they can all play 10 or out the wing. You can interchange all three of them very easily. So I think that works really well for us. And, I'm just hoping Brendan's confidence stays up. I don't know if it was last game or 2 games ago, that he kind of started going down a little easy, and I'm picking up on that stuff, and I'm like, no, don't start doing that again. But I think he's really overcome some of that as well. He's growing, he's young, he's going to continue to grow as a player, but I think he looks really good. He's getting a lot of praise from the fan base right now. I think that people have been impressed with just his work rate and just how good he is on the ball. He sees the field really well. He makes mistakes. He needs a better shot, but he's not perfect, obviously.
Yes, he does. That's a key attribute to him. I think his vision is good. I think his vision is excellent. Trying to think, there was something I was going to say that was maybe a little bit critical of him, but it's lost my head. I think I was going to say the front four. The reason why I'm so geeked out about this young front four is all of them probably saw Ruter and Somerville get paid. So if you can perform, irregardless of if we go up, if you can perform at Leeds United at this club, you will get an opportunity. And I think just professionally, personally and professionally, and for the club. If they perform, if they buy in, if they, get into Daniel Farke's system, good things will happen to them. And I know we want to, it's side before self at Leeds United. I love that saying. That's one of the reasons why I, fell in love with this club. But I think we're naive as fans if we don't believe that there's money behind this. There's a window for a player to make as much money as possible. And they're in that window. And I think I want to have ambitious players play at the club. I can't fault a KP. I can't fault a Rafinha. I can't fault a Somerville and a Ruter for getting the money, for getting the bag after they left. Obviously you don't like the way some of the loanees left. You don't like some of that stuff. And like when people are trying to get paid after leaving Leeds in poor form, like a Robin Koch, Diego Llorente, Christensen, that leaves a bitter taste in your mouth because you didn't do what you were going to do with us. And so, Aaronson coming back is a redemption story. It's a story that I think we can get behind as Leeds United fans, and would love to see him perform. He is a guy that makes, as Jir said, makes his decision early. It seems like he early wanted to come to Leeds United in the previous window, and he was very early in his decision that he was going to go out on loan, and then very early was like, this window, she pretty much shut everything down. He shut all the rumors down. He's like, I'm staying here. And that just puts the gaffer at ease and everybody at the club at ease. He's like, okay, he's buying into this season. He's going to play in the championship. So I give him I commend him for that. I think he's a guy of character. I think Brendan Aaronson's a good person off the field. I mean, he's a good family person. Obviously recently engaged. I don't know how good of a driver he is. Got a bit of some tickets, but hey, we'll leave that aside. Any final thoughts as we go into kind of a busy week? We play Tuesday and Friday.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly say on that as well. Like what I really side for self, I was just thinking about the front four. You look at it and you go, like we said last year, we only had Somerville, a lot of reliance on Somerville, and then you had a lot of reliance on Rutter at times. There's not a lot of reliance on one individual. It's all quite shared. You look at Matteo Joseph, he's not scoring loads of goals, but it doesn't really matter because he's playing well, he's doing his bit, and that's all right because Nonto's chipping in or Ramazan is doing his bit. Then Aaronson as well. I don't think he's playing with so much pressure anymore because he's got over that getting back to Elland Road, the crowd are on his side now, and he doesn't have to, it's not on him to get all the assists and all the goals because he's got these guys around him that can do it. And I think that's helping them all, just finding their place a little bit. And it's a really good balance for me. Like I said, they're still naive at times. They still make their own decisions, but they're in the Championship and not the Premier League. And this is the reason why they're here to develop and learn, like you said, Alex. And hopefully we can go up with them because I do agree they're all very good players that can play above this level. And hopefully they get us promoted because they are the key. And yeah, just on like what you said there, yeah, tough week, very tough week with injuries as well. Norwich, I watched them earlier before the Leeds game. They're an interesting team. When they click, they look really, really good, actually. They move the ball really quickly, but there is spaces to get at them. I will say that. So it will be, I don't think there'll be no bus parking from them. I think it might be similar pattern today. Cov, at times tried it. We had a good shape. Maybe we'll do the same again with possession where we just sacrifice a little bit of it. Or maybe we'll do the other side of it where we just suffocate them and outplay them. It's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. And then Sunderland as well. I think that'll be similar. They can sit deep for Sunderland if they want to because they're really good on the counter. Labrie, their manager Labrie, when he was at Lorient, first season he was there, their team was known. I think they had like the least passes in a build-up, but they'd had the biggest chances created. I think in the first half of the league. So they're very good at getting chances from little passes and quick movement. So they'll be dangerous. So there'll be good games, I think, for the neutral. But for me, difficult week. I'll take 4 points from them too, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
2 away games. I think from what I'm hearing, Locky, it'll test the defense. the defense, how stout we are on our setup. Chris, what do you think looking ahead at this week?
I think, it's going to look very similar. I think, and when you're facing better opponents too, I think that's where you just have to be even more and more clinical. And I think Locky mentioned earlier about Nanto, like where you had, the Norwich player today just kind of stepped in and scored a hat trick. Like there's going to be a game where we need a player to do that for us, especially against a better opponent. So I think you could see a player like Nanto in one of these two games stepping up and having a huge performance for us to take us over the edge. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I think they'll be close. I always think it's going to be close when we play. That's just how we play. But I think, obviously, I'm confident. I don't think you're going to see, again, with how methodical he is, you're not going to see a lot of difference and changes. It's just to be a matter of if we're, less raw and more clinical, and big moments ask for big players, and hopefully we get that.
Excellent. We'll end it there. I just want to give a shout out to Rich Hutchinson, Scooby, Andy as well. Let's see, Philip Anderson, you're always getting stuck in. Appreciate you, brother. Let's see, Slim. What would we do without you, Slim? I love it. All right. Let's see here. And Lee Radley, an absolute goat of the channel. So hope you guys are doing well. Boy, I don't know. Some people are saying six maximum points, man. Can you imagine?
That'd be great.
Yeah. Brendan on my channel, Brendan Paniker, was saying if we get like all 6 points, like this is a big part of the season. Like if you get out of here, you've played Sunderland away, Norwich away, you've played Coventry, you've dropped obviously points against Burnley, but I think you have a chance to redeem that still. You're going to be set up, I think, for success for the coming out after the international break, and then Sheffield United, that Sheffield game.
That's huge.
Circle it right now. Maybe
they've not lost yet. They've not lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Circle that one. That'll be a nice derby. Nice little derby there. I think it'll be a good one. So get your popcorn out. As they say, a tasty fixture. Tasty fixture, as you guys say across the pond. All right, that's my time. Buzzing 3 points. Let's celebrate this one into the night and tomorrow morning. And thank you, Locky. Thank you, Chris, for coming on. And we'll talk soon. Follow Locky if you haven't. Chris Fox is at Chris Fox 75. Locky's at Locky Leeds on both YouTube and I was going to say Instagram, but Twitter. All right. Bye-bye.